I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, I don't want to. Can you say your name again?
Yeah. My name is Rick Burnley, and I have the good fortune and the blessing to be the Poet Laureate of Camp Casey.
Okay.
So I'm primarily known for my poetry, which is very specific against the insanity of our misleaders who have stolen the last two elections. You know, Greg Palast showed documents 3 million votes. So up until now, we've had selections instead of elections, and they're taking our country, our democracy, the Constitution, and the rest of the world to hell.
Okay. So you've been between here and Camp Casey a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to Camp Casey in '05, and then this summer I was down there in the Easter thing and Camp Democracy, and I travel sometimes with Cindy Sheehan and Ann Wright and perform my poetry.
Okay, so you want to give me some of your reactions about yesterday's event? Hey, give me a prognosis or...
Oh, sure. It was wonderful. We went to this local famous club called Busboys and Poets, and we sat at the table and watched on the big screen the election returns as they came in with Cindy Sheehan and Ann Wright and the group of people that are involved with Camp Casey. And it was, of course, a stunningly wonderful evening. We got many more houses than we expected. The margins of victory were immense. And it was such a resounding vote of no confidence to these thugs who have stolen and turned this into the Reich House, that it's wonderful. And then this morning, to get that added, whipped cream and cherry that von Rumsfeld is history, and that he'll be out within the next hour.
Okay, I couldn't help but hearing, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you. You had a prognosis about the continuance of the war.
Well, here's what we're very concerned about.
Okay.
Nelson Mandela said if George Bush attacks Iraq, he should be arrested, tried, and convicted as a criminal of war. This is not hyperbole. This is the law according to the Geneva Convention and the Nuremberg Principles. To start a war of aggression is the gravest of all war crimes. And I have a line in one of my poems that it gives me great pleasure to say is, they squander the wealth of our nation, and they spill the blood of our young. And the losers of wars who did the same crimes were tried, convicted, and hung. And so these people are actually in a very difficult legal situation. The acts and in The Hague, they've crossed the T's and dotted the I's. These people, this is international law 101. And to say nothing of what they've done to the Constitution, to break the treaties that we have there is no paper that's more important according to our own rules than the treaties that we've been signatory. These people use them like they're Kleenex. So their list of crimes just goes on and on. As one of my poems, I say this administration serves a crime du jour, including torture and the torture tour. So they're now cornered. And one of the things that many of us are concerned with is that we will have an attack on either the country in the United States or on our forces overseas, at which point we will have a massive retaliation. At the present time, we have two carrier groups that are in the Straits of Hormuz, right off the coast of Iran, doing bellicose war games, and Iran is is reacting. Shooting up missiles and kind of showing that they're muscles and that they're not a freebie. So what we're concerned about is that while they're over there, America will suffer an attack by maybe a silkworm missile, at which point we will no doubt have a massive retaliation against their nuclear facilities and the Iranian command structures. This has been in the works for some time, as Seymour Hersh, the investigative journalist for the New Yorker magazine, has talked about in 3 articles. Whistleblowers have been sending him the plan, and part of the plan involves using nukes. So now, being cornered, this seems like a greater possibility than ever, because what will happen is then they will respond, although they will have done the initial act, come on the TV and address the American people, you know, that we have just been attacked by the most dangerous force in order to protect our way of life. At 12:43 this afternoon, the United States Navy responded and we did blah, 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 blah. And then there will be a lot of response from people who have their eyes awake here. And as soon as we start to amass at the seats of power, we might probably get martial law. And with the Republicans in power up until now, and the courts that have been stacked by cronies and sycophants, we're in a very dangerous position.
So what do you think the response of the left would be at that moment?
But the response to what?
Of the left, of your group.
Okay, of our group, our response will be to continue to do what we do. We will mass in the streets. We will try to awaken other people to it. Our media is absolutely no help whatsoever. When people talk about the liberal media, I like to say that our media is as liberal as the corporations that own them. And when you see who that is, you'll see that you're talking about the epicenter of the military-industrial complex itself. So our media functions as a sphincter through which they let only certain facts that they allow to be revealed. So Americans are the most ignorant people on the planet. Not stupid, but ignorant, because that's our business here, is infotainment and a greatly filtered news.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one more question. Actually, two more questions. One, you said that earlier. You said the previous two elections were
stolen.
What do you think went wrong with this election?
Well, why they didn't steal? I think that the margins were so great that it would have been, you can flip them if they're closer. When you see the percentages by which groups won or individuals won last night, 22%, many of them 15%, these are landslides. And then they got many more houses than they expected. And I think forewarned is forearmed, so many people have been watching them very closely. So that's...
All right. Well, a lot of the Senate races that were close, though.
The Senate races were close, and I'm sure there were all kinds of chicanery going on. They've done what they can. I mean, this is an administration that they'll have a swing state like Ohio, and then their head of the election commission also happens to be the head of the re-elect Bush for president. And that was the same thing that happened with Catherine Harris in Florida.
Right. Who lost?
Two hats.
Right.
So, I mean, if the Democrats had tried to do something like that, they would have run them out of town on a pole, and rightly so.
Okay, can you give me your name again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Rick Burnley.
Rick Burnley. Can you spell that again?
Yeah, B-U-R-N-L-E-Y.
And you say you're a poet. Do you have books?
Oh, yeah, I got lots of poems.
Okay.
I'll do a little one.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
The land of the free and the home of the brave, or the land of the fleece and the home of the knave? Sadly, I think it's becoming the latter, and our fearless leaders as mad as a hatter. We need to have a regime change, get rid of this draft dodger. They shouldn't fly the stars and stripes. They should hoist the Jolly Roger. That should be the flag they fly. That's what they're all about. Sacking our nation's treasury, sharing with those with a snout. Our leaders point to the people for the troubles that we have, and that's what they always have said. But there's an old Chinese pearl of wisdom. The fish rots from the head. A lot of us are angry, and it's not just sour grapes. We're getting tired of living on the planet of the apes, with knuckle-draggers leading us in their unholy undertakings. Power without wisdom, and the whole earth is shaking. Smaller nations tremble when they see our flag unfurled, because they know they're at the mercy of the bully of the world. And mercy's not our specialty. We care less if they scream and holler. Our national anthem's ka-ching, ka-ching, and our God's the almighty dollar. Thank you.
Do you have books available on Amazon? Or?
I've got a website, rickburnley.com. I've got lots and lots of material. I'm primarily interested in having the words heard, so you can go on there. Anything that you have the technical capacity to download and share, be my guest.
Okay, now I know we're about the same generational. You might be a little bit older than I am.
I was born in '39.
Oh, you're definitely older than I am. So actually, you were old enough to serve in Korea.
I was after Korea. I was too young for Korea, so I was in the Navy. I'm a veteran. I was in the Navy in 1959.
Okay.
And that was between Korea and Vietnam.
Okay.
Well, so I had the luck of the draw.
Yeah, I got right after Vietnam. I mean, as soon as I signed up for the draft. Nixon closed the gates.
Lucky
so,
you.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And who are you with?
I'm just